Okay,
Hello, everybody. Today, I am talking with Ian and Ali from Our Voice South Australia. Let me tell you a little bit about Our Voice South Australia. Our Voice has been using the UN CRPD, that's the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, in workshops, peer networks, client reference groups and conferences run across 5 regions.
I can see you, okay.
Our Voice has empowered people with intellectual disability to advocate for their rights and influence decisions that affect them and their peers. Led by a board of self-advocates and allies employing 15 people with disability, people with intellectual disability have changed government policies and processes and created improvements to closed disability services systems.
Just can't see you.
I'm just going to ask Ian to ask the person who's with him to stop talking, because that person is coming through on the computer.
Yeah.
Ian, can you ask that person to stop speaking, because I can hear everything they say.
Ian, can you Marco to be quiet?
Well, what's on, Ellie?
We can hear your support worker.
Pardon me?
I can hear you.
Oh, they can
We
hear
can
me,
hear
sorry.
you. Yeah. So he needs to Marco. Thank you. And of course, the reason we're talking to Our Voice South Australia today is to congratulate them on being a recipient of the Rights Activism Award in the National Awards for Disability Leadership 2024. Congratulations, Ian. Congratulations, Ali.
Thank you very much. We're very honoured to be winners.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to speak with you. I'm going to tell everyone what the Rights Activism Award is for. It's for advancing the status of disabled people, that's us, that's you and me, Ian, by using human rights mechanisms, including the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, but it might be other stuff as well. And that's exactly what Our Voice South Australia has been doing, as we've just heard. So let's find out a bit about how they've been doing this and what's been going on. So Ian, how did you get into this sort of work? Why are you doing rights activism work?
Just with 2008, just with I was on Our Voice Australia. Oh, that's with Mark Patterson used to be on part of that. You would have heard of Mark Patterson.
I know Mark, yeah.
Just with her stages, but I want to start a committee. I was part of that. I was on the South Australian rep on that. Our Voice, I thought to myself, this is my baby, I want to start a committee up. It's the German lady used to work with me. She's not with us anymore. She died of cancer. I want to start a committee up. I know the system inside out. I've been for the system inside out. I want to start up and get a lot of people together. They will have voice. I've always got stories to tell and all that. I went around to people. I come out, so voluntary. Just people don't want to hear from me. Hear from other people. I started a committee up. People come out. In the early stages, they didn't want to say too much. When you got staff members and all that, what happened is they go back to the management, staff go back to the management, and the clients pick this booth and let this booth they used to get in trouble. But over the years, because we all got rights, a lot of people didn't know they had they didn't know they had rights and all that. To me, I said, Richard Bargerman, he's a professor, South Australia, in IDC, he's been Charles Strathmore. You spoke a little bit about Richard for me, Ali?
Richard Brueggemann is our current patron of our OVSA, and gives us really great advice and information about some of the work that we could be working on in the future.
He's been charged to see people in disability. None of the organisations up here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's believe we've always got a voice out there. I thought to myself, when I start up a committee, this German lady, Monica Baker, she's German, I got a bunch of people together, sit around the table. Disability services first. Yeah, but that I didn't like that too much, no way. They want anything they've done, if they doing all that. But to me, I didn't want that. No, I want to hear from people themselves. We're not
Why-
there. We're not there. We're
Why
not
do you
there
think
for them. Pardon?
Why do you think it's important for people to speak for themselves, Ian? Why is that important?
What the people got whites and all that. They can pick up. What I look at it, I'm only doing a dozen. I say what I believe. I've worked with Ellie. Ellie's worked with us. I know Ellie for a while, but she knows I say my piece, and I stick up people with disability. I love a couple. There's 2 point of view here. One has got a disability, the other one has got a disability.
Mhm.
Allie's got a disabled son. She knows experience. The way I look at it, a lot of people haven't got family members, got disabled kids, port workers, and got in families they can turn off. Like you and me, we can't turn off
No.
at all. We live on a daily basis. That's why I started our voice up over the years and all that. But we got funded from there. We got funded from state government at $2,000. It's hard. Like that $2,000 don't go too far
No.
when you're trying to find place and all that. But over the years, we've been going for 2008. We got funding. We got funding from the federal government. To me, white people now, a lot of disabled, we got 13 areas in there. To me, that's why I believe we have got a lot of people speak up for themselves. And not only helps them, help why either. Well, we are their bread and butter. Ellie knows Ellie talks about that all the time, yeah.
So you pulled together, you got this committee going, and you think it's important that people with intellectual disability speak for themselves.
Yes.
Why do you think the rights are important? What's important about our rights, Ian? Why do we need to know about our rights?
To me, yeah, we need to know about our rights and all that, Cobb. That's why we learned, Cobb. We got the same rights as anybody in the community who hasn't got a disability. And that's why I look at it, Cobb. I've got some rights.
Yeah.
Ali hasn't got a disability, but I've got same rights there for so long. I was living in Houston. They don't teach you that in the early days, like you know yourself. They
Yeah.
don't teach you that at all. But over the years, I've learned we all got rights. Same kind of rights everybody else. To me, that's why I believe.
Yeah.
I only help people in less disability, all kind of other. I'm left it for other people. Give me a call. You know, self. You had a problem. You had a problem, right? A lot of disabled people don't want to speak up. As an advocate myself, I can I'm a, I'm a, I can help along. They have the final say. I don't. Cause I'm their voice. Cause I'm their voice along the track. Cause imagine go out to places and all that.
Uh-huh.
I've helped a couple people over the years, but they have the final say in the track, and I love it. No, I said I'm only doing a dozen. A lot of people like me. I've been to Auckland, New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
I've been all around Australia. Cop, I remember to a conference I had in Fremantle about
Wow.
8 or 9 years ago. They had a minister, they had government, something from government over there, and he just got uh, into the disability area. Look, yeah, normally when they conference, they normally have researchers, right?
Yeah.
They don't normally have people with disabilities. I asked him, put my hand up and asked him, what experience you had in the disability area? He said none.
Oh,
Yeah, to me, they only put him into the wall, substance. To me, why I look at it, 2 point, earlier I said was 1 point of view people with disabilities, people haven't got. I look from a person with disability.
yeah. Yeah. It's
To
important.
me, out of the track, when up the track and all that just come out, just be surface fund us a lot, and then Princess University, and then they took us out for a couple of years. And then when they didn't want to do it anymore, there's Robbie Williams from Purpoint.
Yes, that's right. You have a lot to do with Purple Orange now, don't you?
No, I'm known Robbie for 30 odd years. And Robbie, he does a lot of people, he knows they got a voice out there.
Yes.
I asked Robbie, I mean, Princess didn't want us at all. So now voice had a harm. He said, go ahead. I was
Fantastic.
happy we had a harm to go to. Just come out with a lot of stuff there. And they come out. Robbie knows what our voice is all about and all that.
So you've been doing a lot of work over all this time. What's Our Voice been doing right now? What's the work that you're doing right now?
Well, I'll hand it over to Ellie that part. Ellie, you do that part for me, please.
I can do that part, Ian. So the work that we're currently doing now is a few different things. So we run capacity building workshops for people with intellectual disability around their rights. So we talk about the human rights, we talk about self-advocacy and decision making, and then we look at those skills in different settings. So in places like at home, at work, and in the community. And it's a lot of interaction and role play, really practicing how to speak up and ensure that what you want in life is heard by those that are around you and supporting you. We also facilitate 6 peer networks across the state. So we're very lucky to have some people based regionally that run our groups out in the regions as well. It's important that not just people in big cities know about their rights, but also everybody across South Australia. We also facilitate some client reference groups. So we're currently working with 5 separate organisations here in Adelaide to ensure that the people that they're supporting are being heard by people in decision-making positions.
Oh, that sounds exciting, Ian. That's where, because when we talked about who Our Voice is at the very beginning, when I introduced you, you were talking about changing the disability services. Is that the sort of work you do to make that happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Last year, to me, Ellie backed me up. All the work I do in the community, I got all of Australian medal, haven't I, Ellie?
You did get an Australia OAM, Order of Australia medal.
RBM, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, see, this is so interesting because so often the work we do as people with disability is a bit invisible. People don't sort of notice a lot of it. But you're being acknowledged, so you've got an OAM and now you've received this award as well, the Disability Leadership Award. So it's actually changing a bit, maybe.
When I got the award, LBM award, I know I've got it, but I look at it, it's really the people I help. in a lot of ways, no why. You know yourself, being, yourself, a lot of disabled people wouldn't say anything.
Mm,
But I help them along, because that's really their medal.
yeah,
Okay. I
that's
only
right.
help them along.
It's
We
our
had a lady,
community, isn't it? It's our
we had a
community, isn't
lady,
it,
18
Ian?
years old.
Uh-huh.
She's in a wheelchair. She's in a voice in the early stages. Now she speaks up for herself. She's got her own place. She's got her own voice. Talks about the NWS and all the ones and all that.
So
I,
important.
18 years old. She learned from me.
Oh,
People around the country, people around like, I believe in the country there is no way. They haven't got the same kind of rights as people in the city.
why do you think that? Why?
They haven't got services in there
Wow.
and the organisations. To me, with our voice, now the people in the city, in the country, right, that they can really understand how now they have got a voice. For so long, we never had a voice.
Yeah.
So you just get told what to do and all that. You know that yourself.
Mm, I do. I do. And that makes me wonder, Ian, when you were first starting Our Voice and today, when you're still doing all of this work with the rights training and the peer networks and all of that reference groups and everything, is there still any barriers in your way? Are there still things that are getting in your way to doing your
No,
work?
no, but in the years, when I first started off with our voice, right, no, that was like, that's why I don't like a lot of like disability organisations. You know why? That's when me up. Anyone else will start up. You know
Why?
why?
Why? Why?
They reckon we want smart enough. You don't know what we're talking about. I just said to them, ta-da, goodbye. We are going to start up. Ali knows what I said I do. I don't give up. I'm a fighter, like Ali knows herself.
Yeah, I
Look
can
how
see
far
that.
we've come.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I bet they think differently now.
yeah. A couple of that.
Yeah.
They don't realise, we like they just built it a couple of years ago. Ali, remember that? We had people from Iceland. Remember that, Alice? Ali? Just people from Iceland. On day we was on computer and all that. Yeah, from other countries, but our voice well known around Australia, even
Mm,
well known in Auckland, New Zealand.
yes.
Cause,
There's
'cause we go to
well,
workshops.
the New Zealanders have some very big self-advocacy groups, don't they?
I
Mm,
remember, like, when we went to New Zealand, we that's how we go to workshop. Our boys go to workshop in Auckland. Just with a speak to a couple of they got people first over in New Zealand.
yep.
Well, I'm amazed at how they tell me if you had a disability test to have a town by itself, well, they had people with disabilities, nobody else. They couldn't leave the town at all.
Oh,
Couldn't mix with up normal people at all.
goodness.
Yeah, force yourself. Yeah, it's not fair. 'Cause we all mix with people, but they don't want to mix with people. I mean, you
Goodness.
learn when you go in the overseas, you learn something different all the time. That's something I
Yes.
need, but we had a couple of conferences and all that in Adelaide. Julie from Julie from Tasmania. I think you know little Julie.
I know, Judy. Yes, she's
And
terrific, isn't
Peter,
she? Yes,
Peter,
yes.
I've known Julie for 10 years.
Ah,
She's done a lot for her age.
she's
She
done a
believes,
lot.
yeah,
She's done a lot of rights-based work, hasn't she? A lot of
yeah.
rights work. Yeah.
I call, she come workshop at the Hilton in Victoria Street. And there's something, our first conference, there's a footballer named Russell Ebert. He's played for Port Adelaide. I'm Sturt's Porter. But I cover a lot of the Russell Ebert. He wasn't only the football, he did a lot for charities.
Ah,
He gave a talk at our conference about how people get on. Talk about going into the trial. A lot of young people, 18 years old, for Port Adelaide and the trials, don't make it all. But I used to ring him up. If I had any disabled functions I want to organise, I used to ring him up. And he used to come down in his own time. To me, you don't get too many personalities like that at all.
That's very generous, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want. Our first comp lady organised on committee wanted to pay it, and we only gave them one of our t-shirts. You don't want no money.
Yeah.
To me, I've talked with Nat Cook, and she's a health services minister in Adelaide. Michelle Lindsay, I've seen all that. I mean, when it's going to state for conferences and all that, I catch up a lot of politicians.
Yes, it's useful to go to conferences to see them, isn't it?
Every time I go to a conference, when they organise a conference, normally researchers and all that. Normally researchers and all that.
Yes.
Just come out. When you have staff come up, say to you, they want to see what happened to people's disabilities. I can't say too much. Because the boys, when you get them come up to people's disabilities, come up say to Ian, we say have got to say what you say, Ian, straight out.
Yeah.
That's what I've always been. No, to me, I'm passionate about this. And I love what I'm doing.
That's right.
If anybody offers me some money, I'd do it for nothing. Yeah, I love it.
It's fantastic. What do you think, you've received your OAM, but what do you think receiving this award, the Rights Activism Award, will do? Will it help your work? Will it change anything?
It might keep our voice going. We need funding. It's hard trying to get funding, so you need people to get there. People for Ali and Tristan, they work for our voice. Without them two, I know I can't read a lot. They're my backbone, especially Ali. Well, she leads the way there. Without funding, you can't think of. To me, with this award, might help us with the federal government. I realise it's all like having people in the government talking about you. If you haven't got a person with disability, how will they know? They don't know at all.
So
and Ellie knows herself what I don't give up. I'm a fighter.
Yeah. Do you think this might help to open some doors too then?
Yeah, open some doors along way.
Yeah.
I want to get out of it. I want to retire. They will retire and put me in a box. No, I want to see people with disabilities got a fair go in a lot of ways.
There's
people
so
get
much
listened to a lot more.
Yeah.
If people don't look up, do what get told and all that. To me, that's what I want to see in my troubles.
Yeah. There's a lot of work for us still to do, isn't there, Ian?
Yeah.
A lot of work.
A lot of young people, I go out to unis and all that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of young people don't realise. I can tell who make it in the disability area and who couldn't. And in this kind of job, you have to have patience. You work with all kinds of disabilities. With a person with disability itself, I tell them out there, you only got, in this kind of, your work is right, you need a passion. And you love the people you work with.
Yes. Yes, indeed. What's going to happen in 2025 next year for Our Voice South Australia?
We got funding for a trip. I'll hand it up to Ali. You explain that part to Ali, please.
Yeah, not a problem. So as Ian has said, we've got funding until June next year. So the shift from short-term grant funding to foundational supports is exciting for us, and potentially will open some doors for some new work. However, that transition is also unknown for our OVSA, as it means that our funding is ending, and the important work that we're currently doing about raising the rights of people with disability and teaching people about their rights and how to speak up for them will end. It's going to be detrimental if our work advocating for change in the disability community ceases, and there's a gap between funding. So we're advocating to the federal government to ensure that our work doesn't fall over during that transition time. But we really do hope that we continue the work, and most importantly, expand our footprint further into both metropolitan and regional South Australia. We really just want to ensure that more people with intellectual disability have the skills and knowledge to advocate for their rights.
Fantastic. There's so much work to do.
So much work to do.
So much work to do, isn't it?
And the other part about it, right, just come out with what we do to let people who feel interested. They have a lot of, and they send letters out and all that. We do an easy read.
Oh, yes.
Easy read, you know what, with pictures and all that.
Yes, yes.
When Ali goes out, do workshops and all that, they explain away, because people, what we go out to organisations, they want to understand what it's like. You get explaining away, people, they can really understand it. Easy read. Like with Ali, when I was a board member and all that, if I have any letters, she reads them out, she's explaining away, I can really understand it. That's what we need. Now let's play, and Ali explains it when we meet around the table, Ali explains in a way, you really people can understand that. Cause I don't believe in all this jargon. You know what? If you get up, not easy, you don't know, even understand. People I know have got disabilities, they wouldn't understand any of it. How we work it out, put away people just, unless just people really understand what goes on.
That's it. And that's the peer work, isn't it, Ian? That's what the peer part is. It's so important. As I'm listening to you, and we're almost out of time today, but as I listen to you, I realise, I understand that you must be a real role model to a lot of people with intellectual disability. So what I want to ask you, the question I have for you is, who's somebody that you admire, and why do you admire them?
People like Phil Bevel, Peter Tractor from Five Up Pack. You would have known them. I've been on their radio and all that. 5RPH.
Why do you admire them? Why?
They speak up. I never had no in my at all. I didn't have a role model at all. I did it all myself. I want to be. Why should people with disabilities stand back and don't say nothing? No, it come to me. I'm a role model to a lot of people. Like organisations we got around the statewide. Look how far they come. Before they said harm, you know what? Said harm, been disabled yourself. Said harm, don't say nothing. Look how far they come. All they go out and meetings, they go organise conferences and listen to people with disabilities.
Yes.
That's what I love about it, you know why? At least I know what I've done, helping everybody else. Because people like me won't be around for years. A lot of young people, right? A lot of young people reckon when they get older, nothing change, everything be better. I try and explain to them that's not how it works. Still have the same kind of problems in a lot of ways.
We still have to fight. Yeah, we still have to fight.
Yeah, still fight. Like I said, I won't be doing this to that. That put me in a coffin. I'm still going to fight for people with disabilities at all.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I've always believed in.
It's so good. I'm so pleased we've had a chance to talk today, Ian. Thank you so much for making time. Thank you, Ali. Congratulations once again on receiving the Rights Activism Award in the National Awards for Disability Leadership. Very well deserved. Thank you, Ian, and thank you,
Thanks very
Ali.
much. Thanks, Ellie.
Thanks, Christina, for having us today.
Interesting. Thanks for that, Ellie. She's left me, yeah.